The forest of Bodh Gaya was still, its serenity broken only by the rustle of leaves. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, his presence exuding calm wisdom. A small gathering of disciples knelt before him, anticipation in their hearts. With a serene gaze, he began to speak, his voice gentle but filled with conviction. "Beloved ones," the Buddha said, his words resonating like a melodic stream, "life is a journey marked by dukkha, suffering." His eyes rested on a young disciple, who appeared troubled and pensive. "Suffering," he continued, "is not a punishment but an inherent part of existence itself." The disciples listened intently, hanging on to each syllable as though it were a divine truth. "Let me tell you a story," the Buddha began, leaning slightly forward as the disciples leaned closer. "There was once a woman named Amara, who lived in the bustling village of Magadha." He paused, allowing the image to form in their minds. Amara was devoted to her family, tending to them with care and affection. Yet her heart carried a silent burden. One day, the Buddha continued, his tone measured and soft, Amara's husband fell gravely ill, leaving her stricken with worry. The disciples exchanged glances, some nodding as if resonating with the tale. Despite her prayers and sacrifices, her husband passed away, plunging her into an ocean of grief. His eyes moved from face to face, reading the emotions reflected back at him. Amara's suffering did not end there, he said, his voice lower yet steady. Her son, her sole source of hope, contracted an incurable disease shortly after. A few disciples gasped quietly, the weight of the story settling upon them like a cloud. When her son succumbed, Amara felt the world crumble beneath her feet, the Buddha explained, his words careful and deliberate. He raised his hand gently, as if to guide them away from despair. Amara sought refuge in denial, questioning the heavens, seeking reasons for her anguish. He said, "Perceive this pebble as a single worry, a reflection of your mind." He continued, "Grasp tightly this pebble, feel its weight pressing into your palm. Sense how holding it becomes consuming with time." The farmer's hand clenched tightly around the pebble, his muscles tensed as discomfort began mounting from his relentless grip. Buddha's soothing voice drew their attention back. "This pebble symbolizes clinging to desires, expectations, and fears which amplify suffering." She observed others in her village who, too, bore the weight of loss and hardship. His gaze shifted to the disciples, as if imploring them to do the same in their hearts. Through understanding the universal nature of suffering, Amara began to let go of her isolation. The Buddha's eyes softened as he recounted the transformation. Relief washed over him, a surprising sensation. "You carry burdens by choice," Buddha explained. "Release the belief you must clutch them, and freedom naturally takes its place." The disciples murmured in agreement, struck by the simplicity and depth of Buddha's teaching. Wisdom manifested as simplicity and light. Letting go is not abandonment, but acceptance, Buddha continued. "The first noble truth," he said, reopening his eyes, "is not an end but a beginning, a seed of awakening." The Bodhi tree above seemed to shimmer as a breeze passed through its leaves, carrying the essence of the Buddha's words. The disciples' hearts swelled, a mixture of humility and hope blooming within them. The moment was sacred, etched into their beings as a guiding light for their spiritual paths. The Buddha clasped his hands together, signifying the conclusion of his teaching. "Go forth," he said, "and reflect upon this truth in your lives and in the lives of others." The disciples bowed deeply, their gratitude evident in their reverent expressions. The sun dipped lower, casting golden light upon the gathering, as if nature itself bore witness to the profound moment. The silence of the forest returned as the Buddha rose, his serene presence a beacon in the dimming light. His disciples followed in respectful silence, their hearts carrying the wisdom imparted to them. The path of understanding had begun, their steps guided by the timeless truth of dukkha. Remember, the Buddha said. Turning back briefly, suffering is not our enemy but our teacher, showing us the way to liberation. Another day, another gathering of disciples eager to absorb the Buddha's teachings. The gentle winds of Sarnath carried his voice softly. Thus, Buddha taught the gentle art of letting go. His disciples began practicing daily, transforming their lives through newfound freedom. My dear disciples, the Buddha began, his words carrying the weight of compassion. The origin of suffering lies in tanha, craving and attachment. His gaze swept over the faces before him, noticing the curiosity and contemplation in their expressions. Craving binds us to an endless cycle, pulling us toward desires that cannot truly satisfy our hearts. He paused for a moment, his eyes settling on a disciple seated closest to him. Let me recount the tale of a merchant named Varun, he continued. Varun lived in a bustling town and devoted his life to accumulating wealth and possessions. The disciples leaned in slightly, their attention unwavering. Varun had a dream of owning the largest and finest house in his village, the Buddha explained. Every ounce of his energy went toward fulfilling this vision, driven by his relentless desire. The rustling leaves overhead seemed to mimic the urgency of Varun's pursuit. In time, Varun succeeded in building the grand house he had envisioned, the Buddha said. Yet, his satisfaction was fleeting, replaced by a new craving for more prestige and admiration. The disciples nodded, recognizing the familiar cycle of longing and fleeting contentment. Varun began hosting grand feasts, inviting the wealthiest and most influential people. The Buddha continued. Master, the monk said, how should I react to such harshness? Must I remain silent and endure pain without response? Buddha picked up a fallen leaf and held it gently. Let me show you, through this leaf, the way of kindness. One night, Varun sat alone in his luxurious home. Realizing that his wealth brought neither peace nor joy, he said. His heart felt hollow despite the material abundance surrounding him. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, moved by Buddha's analogy, its simplicity resonating with their hearts. Carry no hatred, Buddha said. Respond with compassion instead. May your heart remain like a tranquil lake, undisturbed. He placed the leaf upon the monk's palm. This leaf is light because it does not cling. Be light within. I guided Varun to reflect upon the impermanent nature of the world, the Buddha said. Together, we walked through his town, observing the changes it had undergone. His hands moved gently, as if illustrating the passage of time. He saw buildings weathered by age, markets bustling with goods one day and empty the next. Varun began to understand that his cravings tied him to a cycle of dissatisfaction, the Buddha explained. He realized the futility of seeking happiness in things that would inevitably fade away. Visualize the tranquility of a clear lake, Buddha continued. Let ripples fade into stillness, holding serenity despite the storm. His voice carried the hope of someone searching for liberation. He smiled briefly, recalling the determination in Varun's eyes. Let go not of the memory, but the resentment it carries, Buddha said. Let understanding guide your spirit towards peace. The disciples murmured in agreement, touched by the transformative power of Buddha's words. They vowed to embrace his teachings wholeheartedly. Desire is not inherently harmful, he said finally. It becomes the root of suffering only when it grows unchecked. His words seemed to ripple through the group, each disciple reflecting on their own attachments and longings. Go forth, he said, his tone firm but encouraging, and examine the cravings that bind your hearts. Observe them without judgment, and begin to loosen their grip. The disciples bowed deeply, their gratitude evident in the reverence of their movements. Departing, the monk carried new clarity. Buddha watched him go, his presence unwavering. Another day had passed. Another lesson etched into the hearts of his devoted followers. My beloved ones, the Buddha added. Turning to walk away, remember, freedom is born from understanding. And understanding begins with observing your own mind. The disciples watched him leave, their hearts stirred with determination to walk the path of mindfulness and detachment. Another day. Another teaching under the golden sun of Rajgir atop Vulture Peak. His wisdom spread farther, illuminating countless hearts like the stars above. Another day. As dawn broke over the meadow, Buddha walked quietly, his disciples following behind, eager for his wisdom. His gaze rested upon them, reflecting both compassion and unwavering resolve. My devoted ones, the Buddha began, his voice gentle yet firm. Today, I share with you the path to liberation. The disciples leaned closer, their anticipation palpable in the stillness of the moment. Dukkha can cease, he continued, when we break free from the chains of craving and attachment. He paused, observing the eager faces before him. Allow me to tell you about a seeker named Alok, he said, his tone warm and inviting. Alok was a man tormented by the loss of his family and the collapse of his livelihood. The disciples exchanged glances, their expressions mirroring empathy. Despair consumed Alok, driving him to seek refuge in distractions that only deepened his suffering, the Buddha explained. He wandered from one village to another, seeking solace but finding none. A bird called from a nearby tree, its voice echoing the somber tale. Eventually, Alok found his way to me, his heart a well of anguish and uncertainty. The Buddha continued. Do not wander in past shadows or future illusions. The disciples leaned closer, their curiosity piqued by Buddha's metaphor. His teachings unfolded like petals of profound simplicity. Buddha pointed to the flower. Its beauty exists now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. Its life is complete in this present moment. The merchant frowned slightly. Alok began to see the world through a lens of empathy, awakening his capacity for selflessness. The disciples shifted, their hearts resonating with the profound teachings. He explained, the blade grows where it is rooted. Each day, it stretches toward the sun, living fully in its place. A disciple smiled faintly, recognizing the transformative power of mindful speech. Then came right action, the Buddha continued, his tone steady and guiding. The past and future are like fleeting clouds, Buddha said. They cannot be grasped, yet they distract from life's essence. The rustle of leaves above seemed to mirror the harmony of these teachings. I emphasized right livelihood, encouraging Alok to pursue work that upheld compassion and virtue, the Buddha explained. He let go of pursuits that exploited others, embracing a life of honesty and fairness. The disciples' faces reflected contemplation, their minds absorbing each principle. The simplicity of the practice resonated deeply. Like echoes of a bell, Buddha stood and walked slowly. He began meditating daily, transforming his turbulent mind into a haven of clarity. I taught him right mindfulness, the Buddha explained, the art of living fully in the present moment, aware of body, speech, and mind. He gestured gently toward the horizon, as if illustrating the boundlessness of awareness. Alok discovered peace in the simple act of observing his breath and surroundings. Finally, I introduced him to right concentration, guiding him to focus deeply, achieving inner calm and insight, the Buddha continued. Through this, Alok touched the edges of liberation, sensing the freedom beyond suffering. A disciple bowed slightly, expressing reverence for the transformative path. The Buddha paused, allowing the disciples to reflect on the profound truth revealed in the tale of Alok. My beloved ones, he said, his voice carrying the essence of hope. Each of you can walk this path, freeing yourselves from suffering. His gaze softened, encouraging their hearts to embrace the journey. The golden sun dipped lower in the sky, its rays illuminating the Buddha's serene presence on Vulture Peak. "Remember," he added, his voice firm yet compassionate, "the Eightfold Way is not a destination but a guide to awaken your inner peace." The disciples bowed deeply, their gratitude evident in their solemn expressions. The Buddha turned, his steps deliberate, leaving his disciples in contemplative silence. The path had been revealed, its seeds planted within their hearts, ready to bloom with practice and perseverance. Another day had passed, another truth etched into their beings, guiding them toward liberation. Buddha walked onward, his steps steady, his presence a beacon, his teachings echoing within the hearts of those who followed him. The disciples followed, their paths illuminated by the light of acceptance, their souls liberated by the truths unveiled in Buddha's words. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.